Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching World Today. Now, in a rare display of political unity, India is gearing up for a diplomatic offensive like none other. Lawmakers from across party lines are set to take India's message global. Following the deadly Pahalgam terror attack and the country's military response, take a look at our report as India shifts the global opinion with its domestic unity.
In a move that blends diplomacy with domestic unity, India is set to launch an unprecedented international outreach mission. And it is not just the government leading the charge. According to reports, a delegation of Indian MPs from across party lines will soon fly out to capitals across the world, including the United States, United Kingdom, South Africa, Qatar and the UAE, with one mission: to tell India's side of the story. Especially in the aftermath of the April 22nd Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindhu, which saw India retaliate against Pakistan-based terror camps. Now the diplomatic front takes center stage, led by Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju. The government has reportedly reached out to opposition MPs like Shashi Tharoor, Salman Khurshid, Asaduddin Owaisi, Kanimori and Supriya Sule, inviting them to join the delegations.
सरकार की ओर से अगर कोई इनविटेशन आता है, कोई मांग आती है कि एक बहुदलीय प्रतिनिधि मंडल में कांग्रेस पार्टी भी शामिल हो, हम ज़रूर शामिल होंगे और जो कुछ हमें करना है हम करेंगे। राष्ट्रीय हित सर्वोपरि है। हाँ, रीच आउट किया गया है। संसदीय मंत्री कार्य मंत्री किरण रिजिजू ने कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष से बात की है। अभी देखिए कांग्रेस पार्टी किसको नियुक्त करेगी, वो कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष उसको तय करेंगे। हमारे कांग्रेस संसदीय दल के नेता सोनिया जी भी हैं।
Each team will comprise 5 to 6 senior MPs drawing from parliamentary standing committees tasked with explaining India's stance to global leaders. The objective: to counter Pakistan's narrative, share evidence of its involvement in cross-border terrorism, and secure international support for India's position. But this isn't the first time India is taking such a step. Many will recall 1994, when the Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao had dispatched opposition leader Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Geneva to counter a Pakistan-sponsored resolution at the UN Human Rights Commission. A diplomatic victory is still remembered in foreign policy circles. This latest initiative seems to echo that strategy. However, Pakistan is not without allies. Islamabad has found support from China, Azerbaijan and Turkey. And it is Turkey's position that is drawing particular concern. In a move that sparked outrage in India, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a leader of a NATO country, has publicly backed Pakistan, referring to Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif as his dear brother. Erdogan reaffirmed Turkey's unwavering support, calling it a bond of true friendship. For many in India, a NATO member siding with a state linked to terrorism sends the wrong global message, one that questions the West's commitment to fighting terror without bias. But for now, the message from New Delhi is clear. India stands united and it is prepared to take that unity to the world stage through diplomacy, dialogue and a show of political unity rarely seen in recent times. With Saurav Sinha, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
India is engaging the world diplomatically but also focusing on the neighborhood. India has made a move that could make Islamabad sweat, and it isn't across the border. It is in Kabul. On the 15th of May, a phone call changed the game. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar dialed up Afghanistan Taliban's acting foreign minister, marking the first high-level political and ministerial engagement since the Taliban took over 3 years ago. The key agenda: India's renewed commitment to building the Shahdud Dam, a major $236 million hydroelectric and irrigation project on the Kabul River, fully supported by India. When completed, this dam will provide clean drinking water to 2 million Afghans and irrigate over 4,000 hectares of farmland. But here's why Pakistan is alarmed. The Kabul River flows from Afghanistan into Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. It's part of the Indus water basin and a critical water source for Pakistan's agriculture too. This comes days after India suspended the Indus Waters Treaty after the Pahalgam terror attack to add to Pakistan's worries. The Taliban has also announced plans to build another major dam on the Kunar River, which merges with the Kabul River before entering Pakistan. There's currently no water sharing agreement between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and they share 9 river basins, including the Kabul, Kunar, Gomal, and Kurram. Any major project upstream could reduce water flow into Pakistan, affecting agriculture and livelihoods. So India has not just weaponized water on its side, but also is looking to weaponize water in Afghanistan. Now, the India-Pakistan tensions and Turkey's stance of siding with Islamabad have made major diplomatic ramifications when it comes to the two countries, with India's major airports severing ties with Turkish aviation firm Çelebi after the government revoked its security clearance, citing national security concerns. Çelebi's operations at airports in Delhi, Bengaluru, Bombay, that's Mumbai, and Ahmedabad, where it had long managed ground handling services, have been terminated. Karishma Asudani explains if Çelebi Aviation India has any political affiliations or links to any foreign government and individuals or not.
In a stunning move this week, India's aviation security regulator, the BCAS, which is Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, revoked the security clearance of Çelebi Airport Services India, citing national security concerns. But why is this Turkish-linked company suddenly in the spotlight, and what are the facts behind the backlash? Well, Çelebi Airport Services India is a key ground handling operator across 9 major Indian airports, including Mumbai, Delhi, Bengaluru and Hyderabad. It manages crucial operations like cargo handling, baggage services and check-ins. Last year alone, its India wing handled close to 58,000 flights and moved over 5.4 lakh tons of cargo. The company directly employs 10,000 Indians and claims to have pumped in more than $200 million in long-term infrastructure investments. But this week, Çelebi's India's presence hit a wall. The government security agencies flagged concerns, and BCAS, which is the security regulator, revoked its clearance with immediate effect. This essentially stalls most of Çelebi Airport Services India activities, creating immediate logistical concerns for multiple airlines. This revocation comes amidst growing diplomatic tensions with Turkey. Following Ankara's support for Pakistan just last week during the India-Pakistan conflict, Indian voices on social media and in political circles have called for boycotts and a relook at Turkish firms operating in India. In fact, it was during the Operation Sindhu when things worsened with the public sentiment. So, is Çelebi really a Turkish entity? Çelebi's Indian arm strongly denies this. In a detailed statement, it said it is truly an Indian enterprise, majority owned by international investors from the US, Canada, UK and the UAE. It rejected online rumors linking it to Sumaya Erdogan, granddaughter of current Turkish president, calling them factually incorrect. The company said no political figures hold any stake. In fact, only just 2 individuals from the founding Çelebi family retain minority stakes. The company stressed its record of regulatory compliance, transparency with the government and the Indian management. It also pointed out that its facilities are audited regularly by the Indian Aviation and Securities. But the key question remains, in times of heightened geopolitical tension, can a company with even partial Turkish links be trusted with sensitive airport operations? For now, India's aviation ministry is siding with caution. Meanwhile, operations at airports must adapt quickly. Airlines who were using this will now have to coordinate with alternatives like AI Airport Services, Air India SATS, or even the Bird Group.
Now, Ukraine and Russia met for the first time in Istanbul since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022. After much dilly-dallying and a highly anticipated meet that never took place between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said he did not have high expectations from the peace talks, and that only a meeting between President Trump and President Putin can make things really progress further. Now, speculations had been rife that the talks called for by President Putin and agreed to by Ukrainian President Zelensky would see the leaders of two warring nations meet for the first time since the invasion. U.S. President Donald Trump was likely to reschedule his trip to the Gulf and meet Putin and Zelensky in Turkey, but that too did not happen. Trump had earlier said the peace talks would not see the light of the day unless the president met with the two presidents, that's the Russian and the Ukrainian. Zelensky had criticized the low-level delegation sent by Kremlin for peace talks, suggesting that Russia was not serious about real talks. Ukraine had, however, sent a delegation headed by its defense minister to Istanbul while Zelensky was in Ankara. He questioned whether the Russian delegation of deputies and policy experts were actually authorized to make any decision at all. Trump was asked when is he likely to meet the Russian president. He said, very soon. Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine agreed to exchange 1,000 prisoners of war from each side after talks ended in Istanbul. If the exchange goes ahead, it would be the biggest prisoner swap in more than 3 years since Russia's invasion. In response to an unconditional 30-day ceasefire called by European leaders in Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin had proposed direct talks in Istanbul on the 15th of May. Zelensky then had challenged Putin to meet him in person. Vladimir Medinsky, who was heading the Russian delegation in Istanbul for talks with Ukraine, said Moscow saw the talks as a continuation of failed negotiations in 2022 after Russia launched the invasion of Ukraine. So now the question is, when will President Trump meet President Putin, and will this meeting pave the way for peace in Europe? So till this meeting happens, efforts made by European leaders and Ukraine is indeed a failed effort, because Russian officials have signaled that talks are based on a document that was under negotiation in the year 2022 but never agreed upon. Kyiv did not accept the document because it gave Russia a veto over Western military assistance to Ukraine in case of resumed conflict. Putin and Zelensky had met only once in 2019 in Paris with French President Emmanuel Macron and then German Chancellor Angela Merkel to discuss the earlier Ukrainian peace process based on the Minsk agreements. The meeting had failed to resolve the crisis caused by Russia's illegal annexation of Crimea in 2014.
When do you think you'll meet President?
As soon as we can set it up.
Why wait?
Well, we're going to, I think it's time for us to just do it. I said, they all said Putin was going and Zelensky was going, and I said, if I don't go, I guarantee Putin's not going. And he didn't go, and I understand that, but we're going to get it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done. 5,000 young people are being killed every single week on average, and we're going to get it done.
We don't have high expectations of what will happen tomorrow. And frankly, at this point, I think it's abundantly clear that the only way we're going to have a breakthrough here is between President Trump and President Putin. It's going to require that level of engagement to have a breakthrough in this matter. I don't think anything productive is actually going to happen from this point forward until they engage in a very frank and direct conversation, which I know President Trump is willing to do.
Israeli air and artillery strikes pound northern Gaza, forcing Palestinians to flee after a truce collapse in March and a new ground offensive expected soon. U.S. President Donald Trump again mentioned about U.S. takeover of Gaza for redevelopment. Now, during his visit to Qatar, Trump suggested U.S. takeover of Gaza in an attempt to rebuild the Palestinian enclave. But this is not the first time that the U.S. president has spoken about the future of Gaza. Earlier, Trump said he wanted Jordan and Egypt to take in Gazans when talking about Gaza Riviera idea. He had shared this vision even when the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, visited the White House at the beginning of the year. President Trump had also shared an AI video on his social media platform Truth Social depicting Trump Gaza. The video included AI-generated images of a golden statue of the U.S. president in Gaza, luxury cars and skyscrapers in a reconstructed Gaza Strip. The clip had drawn criticism from Gazans.
Well, we're working very hard on Gaza, and Gaza's been a territory of death and destruction. The United States get involved and make it just a freedom zone, have a real freedom zone.
Now, has Elon Musk just become father of the 14th and 15th time? Father for the 14th and 15th time. Amber Heard's surprise Mother's Day post announcing the birth of her twins has reignited speculation about a past embryo dispute between the two. With no father named and an old report linking Musk to preserved embryos with Heard, the internet is asking, are these latest additions secretly part of the ever-growing Musk dynasty? Take a look at this report.
Amber Heard just announced something nobody saw coming. The Aquaman actress took to Instagram on Mother's Day to announce that she is now a mother of twins, daughter Agnes and son Ocean. In her post, Amber wrote, and I quote, "Mother's Day 2025 will be one I will never forget. Today I officially share the news that I welcomed twins into the Heard gang. My daughter Agnes and my son Ocean are keeping my hands full." She emphasized that her motherhood journey was deeply personal. And I quote, "Becoming a mother by myself and on my own terms, despite my own fertility challenges, has been the most humbling experience of my life." While most netizens were happy for her, there was a huge number of people who wanted to know who is the father, and it did not take long for the internet to settle on a conspiracy theory. So who exactly the internet thinks is the father? It's Elon Musk. If the rumors are true, this would be Elon Musk's 14th child. Musk and Heard are no strangers to each other. They dated on and off from 2016 to 2018. While it has been 6 years since they split, the reason why people think that he is the father is because of a report by Daily Mail about a legal dispute between Heard and Musk over embryos. According to court documents cited in that report, Elon allegedly wanted the embryos destroyed. Amber, on the other hand, wanted to preserve them, reportedly intending to have children with or without him. Fast forward to 2025. And the timing of Heard's twin announcement has reopened the case in the court of public opinion. Heard hasn't named a father for any of her children, not for Una in 2021 and now not for Agnes and Ocean. That mystery plus the resurfaced embryo reports has turned online forums into speculative war zones. Is Elon the father? Did Amber use frozen embryos to expand her family? Could these twins, potentially Musk's 14th and 15th children, be part of that controversial chapter? Neither Amber nor Elon have responded. Musk, known for being very active on Twitter, has been quiet. And Heard, still recovering from the wreckage of her 2022 defamation trial with Johnny Depp, continues to keep her comment section disabled. Her silence, perhaps, saying more than any caption could. With Rishika Aradhya, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
Well, these past few weeks have shown how the country has come together domestically on the issue of terrorism emanating from Pakistan, across parties, across states. Here is our visuals that we're showing you of people carrying out a candlelight vigil in Goa. The vigil was led by Minister Vishwajit Rane in solidarity with armed forces after Operation Sindhu. That's all in this edition of World Today. But before I go, I'll leave you with these visuals from the UAE trip where President Trump was received with a very, very unique welcome. Trump was greeted with a traditional Al-Ayala performance, a cultural art form from the Sultanate of Oman and the UAE, which involves women tossing their hair from side to side in sync with drums and chants. Take a look. Goodbye and take care.